themselves. This is Jessica Hayes, Sarah Jeffrey, Brittany Hayes. Leslie Balls and Leah Tilson. And I'm Jerry Rollins. I'm
Old
sorry.
age kicking in already, Jerry. Come on now.
I know. We are Team Disney. To prepare for our presentation, we researched the history and trends of secondhand fashion stores. We interviewed owners, employees, and customers of the store. We educated ourselves on how to make Plato's Closet thrive in the local community. And now Jessica will tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, if some of you don't know what Plato's Closet is, I'll just give you all a little information on it. It is a locally owned business here in Johnson City, but it's not just locally owned. It's a franchise, and it has a corporate and everything, but each individual store has individual owners. It is secondhand fashion. It's not consignment. When you bring in clothes there, they offer you cash on the spot. It was first opened in 1998 in Columbus, Ohio, by founders Lynn and Dennis, and we thought that this was really interesting how they come up with Plato's Closet, the name. The owners, the founders, their son was doing a project in school on the Greek philosopher Plato, and they felt that his beliefs and views went with what they wanted for their store, and so they just come up with the name Plato's Closet, and now there's over 200 Plato's Closets all over North America. And Leah is now going to talk about the buy policy.
Okay, well, at Plato's Closet, the employees are known as buyers. As a buyer, you are required to go through a training session to learn what clothes you will and will not accept to sell in the store. With that being said, they focus on teen and young adults. Also, it's gently used clothing, and a big trick is that they only accept clothes that have been in like the mall or a department store within 2 years. Also, it's the Plato's Closet, they continue to end up saying that they're all about trending, what the style is. That's the kind of clothes that they want to incorporate in the store. But really, when you go down to the logistics and find into their policy, you find out that they're more about the brand. That's what they're really focusing on, is these top name brands that they'll take in. With that being said, Sarah is going to be talking about the dilemma.
Okay, so when we were looking into the buy policy and interviewing employees of Plato's, during one of our interviews with the owner in the local Johnson City Plato's Closet, she actually stated that Plato's Closet is trend and style specific, but not brand specific. But going into the interview, she actually went on to say that there are certain brands that don't sell well in their store. So whether it's within their 2-year mark, it's whether her buyers think that it's trendy or fashionable, and it's in that 2-year mark, like I said, and maybe it still has the tags on it and is in great condition, they still won't buy certain brands. For example, Miley Cyrus has a brand and it doesn't sell well in their store, so they will not buy it. No Boundaries, Mossimo, and a lot of Old Navy things, actually, they won't buy, specifically because those brands don't sell well in their store. So we found a little bit of a contradiction there and decided that with the buy policy, we wanted to we decided that it was giving a little bit of miscommunication. Customers were coming in and bringing bulks of clothes that they wanted to sell to Plato's and not understanding why Plato's wasn't wanting to buy but one item of clothing. So we wanted to just present an opportunity for customers and employees to be on the same page and understand the policy well. So we're going to talk about what we're going to do with it in just a minute, but the main thing is we kind of want Plato's to kind of get off of their style and trend philosophy and lean towards the honesty of the fact that they do lean a lot towards certain brands. So we actually have a little graph that's kind of funny that we found that a lot of customers feel like they're bringing in all of these clothes and then like maybe they're bringing in 25 items and one item is getting bought by Play-Dohs. And a lot of customers aren't understanding that because
And you're saying that this is the perception, Sarah?
Yes.
Walk me through this graph,
yes, this
this
is
pie
the
chart.
perception of many people that are selling their clothes. One of the women that we interviewed 2 women and a male about Play-Dohs, and one of the women that we interviewed was actually a woman that sells her clothes often to Play-Dohs. And most of us in this group as well have sold our clothes to Play-Dohs or attempted to sell our clothes to Play-Dohs. And this is kind of the perception of a lot of the customers' view on how Play-Dohs does things. And we decided that it's mainly because we're having a communication barrier with the buy policy and the styles, trends, and brands. So we wanted to research into that a little bit more and see what was going on, because there is a corporate website for Play-Dohs Closet. Then there's a Johnson City website. On the corporate website, they have a list of brands that they do, and on the Johnson City website, they have just a list of styles. They say like we need tanks, we need shorts, we need this, but they're not saying what kind of tank tops they want, what kind of shorts they want, what kind of t-shirts they want. So we found that to be a little bit of a barrier, because some of the brands on the corporate website are some of those brands I just told you about a few minutes ago that this local Play-Dohs does not buy. So now Brittany is going to talk to you about the suggestions we have.
Okay, so Play-Dohs Closet already has the technology to let the consumers know what brands are popular, what they need, that sort of thing. And so what we're suggesting is that using the local web pages that every Play-Dohs Closet has, they have a tab that says, most wanted, and it'll say most wanted for the month of May, and then it'll have a list of brands that it'll want. And this is based off of the data that was collected the previous month. So that could mean, I know Old Navy is one of the interesting ones, but Old Navy jeans could be popular for the month of May. You never know. Also, we would like for it to be updated monthly, just so then consumers know that, yes, we're communicating with you, these are the things that we need monthly. And then also utilizing social media. The Johnson City local, or the local Play-Dohs Closet doesn't have a Facebook page, and they really don't have a social media presence. And so establishing that with every local Play-Dohs Closet organization or company, and also establishing Twitter and Flickr. For Facebook, it would be more of updating, again, the monthly brands. Twitter would be more of the, hey, take a look at our brands. And Flickr would be to post the photos of the latest trends and the latest fashions that you can possibly see in the next month. So, just as Sarah said, this is the corporate website. The top 10 trends is where this can be found, and this is where the brands that we're most likely to buy according to the corporate. And so you can see Abercrombie & Fitch, Lucky, Jessica Simpson, things like that, that corporate feels that these are popular brands. And this is the local website. As you can see, it's slightly different because of what's hot. What they have, basically, it's skirts and dresses and men's shorts and different types of shoes. And what we want to do is we want to change that to what can we really use. And so we changed the website just slightly, and we changed it to most wanted, with brands that we can't get enough of for the month of May. And then we listed 9 brands that have been popular in the last month, just so people knew or know that these are kind of what we're looking for the entering summer months. So now, Leslie is going to take it for pros and cons.
Okay, there's many pros to this. Time management is going to be number one. It's frustrating for the buyers to go through an entire basket of clothes that has 50 items in it and buy one of them. It's also frustrating for the person who comes in. Actually, one of the girls that we interviewed with a customer had come in the day before, brought 10 items, and 1 shirt was bought. That's frustrating. And also she had items that she was going to buy while she was there and decided to put them back because she didn't have the change in. So time management, it's gonna waste less of your employees' time, they're gonna be more productive. It's gonna waste your employee, or it's gonna waste less of your customers' time. They're gonna be more likely to come in more often, they're gonna be more likely to spend their money there more often, they're gonna be more likely to tell their friends to take their clothes there and to come in more often, which, as we know, word of mouth is the number one way to get people to come. Attracting new customers, like I said, new people are gonna come because word of mouth is going to spread. The only cons that we could think of is time and money. You're going to have to find one person in your store to train. But keep in mind, you're saving time through your new process. So you can spend that same time putting someone who's already employed, teen and young adults, they know the social media. There's very few people who don't have Facebook, who don't have Twitter, who don't know what Flickr is. So the training is not going to be difficult. You're just going to have to do, work with them a couple months. And the electronic resources, you're going to have to buy a laptop, obviously. If they don't have a computer to work with, we're going to have to work with that. But that's not difficult. Most people have a computer at home. Like I said, the young and teen adults, we all use Facebook, we all use Twitter. We're all online. How many of you guys shop online? Everybody does. So before you go to sell your clothes back, we're going to look online and say, oh, I don't need to bring all these tank tops that I have that I got at Old Navy. How about I take this one tank top in, get that money, and trade it for something new? So overall, you're benefiting far more than you're taking away from what you already have. Overall, we think it's going to be a good process and save us lots of time and benefit Plato's Closet. Are there any questions that you guys would like to ask us?
And just also going off of what Leslie just said, in our interview with the owner of the local Plato's, we did ask her a few questions about just some ideas that we had flowing before we finished all of our research, and she did say that if customers understood what brands they were looking for and specifics of what they were looking for when they brought their clothing in, she did think that that would be wonderful because it would save her buyers a lot of time and customers would be leaving happy rather than frustrated because they brought so many items in and only one was bought. So it would be leaving not only her employees happy, but the customers happy as well. And she said, especially she wants the customers leaving happy because that means that they're going to come back, and like Leslie said, they're going to tell all their friends about it as well.
Jessica's actually a buyer who works at Plato's Closet, and how many times have you told us lots of stories about people who come in and get angry at you because you don't buy what they don't understand?
Every day that I work, people come in and they're furious.
Well, talk through that. I almost wish, and then Amanda has a question here. I almost wish you would talked in terms of percentage. Remember, percentages, numbers, very important in terms of talking scope of a problem. But we ultimately then resonate with the more personal information. So talk to me in terms of percentage. What are we talking about? The percentages of customers who come in who leave dissatisfied after a transaction.
I mean, I don't have any hard evidence of percentages, but I mean every month we have we run reports that tell us we keep our buy slips. When the customers come in, they have to fill out a buy slip that says their name, number, whatever, and that's how we put it in the computer system. So in the computer system we put their name, and then when we get the brand, when we put the items in, we put brand, what condition it's in, and then it tells us the price. We don't make
Now,
the
a buy slip is when you actually officially buy it,
No,
or if
when
it's
they-
attempted buy.
attempted. When they come into the store, every person that wants to sell clothes fills out the same buy slip. When they fill it out, it goes into a book. We write it down, and it's first come, first served. So if there's 4 buys to be done, we'll get those 3 buys done and then get the 4th one finished. And then when they're finished, we write their names on the board. But we do every month. We keep the buy slips, and we do percentages of who we buy from and who we don't. But I don't know that information to give you. But I do know that they do keep track of it.
Okay. That would be helpful. That's also necessary. I want you to estimate now. What do you sense?
I would say about 70% of our customers we do not buy from and are unhappy because of our 2-year policy.
70% of the people who walk through that door.
We do not buy from.
I know the girl that we interviewed said that she didn't understand why some of her clothes weren't bought because on the website it said that they were taking sundresses and things like that. So she brought in her old sundresses, and if they had said the specific brands, because I asked her, even though she mostly shops for style, it's understandable they need these specific brands. So then she probably wouldn't have brought them in, Two, left frustrated because she would have had like, oh, they already have enough of this brand, they don't need more, it doesn't sell well.
Yeah.
So the frustration would not have been there if the message had been delayed well, you know?
I have a question. Do you think that hinders them anyway? Like,
Oh, yes.
because I have stopped going there just because of that reason, and I didn't realize they had the 2-year kind of like they wanted specific brands. But if you're not taking clothes from 70%, how do you get so many clothes in there? Like, do the people who you do take from, do you take a lot?
Yes, like when buys come in, it's either a really good buy or a really bad buy.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if we,
Okay, back up. I need, you're going into to lingo.
Okay.
What does that mean?
buys mean people bring in clothes.
Mhm.
All right. When we go through the items, typically, it's either we take a lot of the clothing or we don't take any of the clothing.
So a good buy would be what? Please define that for me.
$90 worth of clothes that we pay them.
Like 3 pairs of jeans, 2 dresses.
A good buy is, by definition, your perspective or the client's perspective? I mean, you're
I would say
considering.
both.
It's mutual.
Because we get that inventory in and they get $90.
And you bring your clothes like hoping to get money.
Yeah, like
I bring them in hoping to get money so that I can buy new things. So I know that
that makes it
it's a trade.
that makes it especially
Sorry,
better
it doesn't
for
try not to
Play-Dohs
push it.
because and on the website it actually says that they're encouraging on their website for customers when they come in to sell their clothes to Play-Dohs to shop while the buyers are going through their clothes.
That's good marketing.
To shop. So if they are getting $90 back, they're most likely going to spend at least half of that on clothing that they found while they were looking around while the buyers were going through their clothing.
And
What was your
that's
question, Amanda?
Okay, I actually have 2 questions, and you guys didn't talk about this in your presentation, but you guys are talking about it now with money. I've never once heard of Plato's Closet giving $90 to somebody for anything.
It happens.
I took
I work
a
there.
basket and I
Because
got 50 back
I
last week.
took in a pair of jeans that still had the tags on them, and I'd never worn them, and they were going to offer me $2 for them.
Well, we sell it depends on what brand they were.
They were Abercrombie.
I mean, we only sell jeans, like the most we would sell those jeans for, I mean,
I know that you guys have to like make a profit, but I think that'd be another dilemma that people have because I've heard a lot of complaints about how they don't think it's ethical with the money because they feel like they're getting short.
we sell at 70% less than you'll find in the department stores. And then what we sell it for, we give you 40% of that.
Yeah.
So if we sell a pair of Abercrombie jeans for, I mean, typically the highest we'll sell Abercrombie jeans is $22. So you would get 40% of $22.
Yeah, I think that it was just, I guess, kind of an eye-opener because then, like, I would go and look around and, like, at the jeans that they had, like, it wasn't at this store, it was the one in Knoxville. And the jeans they had on display were torn up, they looked like they had been worn in the seat. Like, it was just,
Yeah.
Are you sure
know.
those Play-Dohs or not
No, it was
changed?
Play-Dohs, yeah.
The one in
Knoxville's way worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's all corporate though.
Yeah.
Like we don't make our prices up. Every Plato's Closet has the same prices.
And then, with what you guys were talking about, like, how people buy, like, hang on, the buyers, so your job.
Right.
If people come in, like, do you guys have to explain to them, you know, that this is the brands that they're looking for, or was it just supposed to be?
When we,
Because I noticed that Exhilaration was on the corporate website, but then you were talking about how, yeah, that wasn't, I guess, a really popular brand. But they're, like, pretty much equivalent because they're from the same store, right?
And that's something that we were addressing mainly here with that confusion because, like, some people that are coming in to sell their clothes to Play-Dohs, and they've looked at the corporate website that has all of these brands listed, and some of those brands listed, like I said, are some of the brands I mentioned to you guys that the local Play-Dohs here does not necessarily like to buy because the brands and styles vary from. Like she said, there's 200 locations.
Did you guys, like, research anything, like, the logistics, like, why they're not selling here compared to, like, why they would sell, I guess, at corporate?
I think that's just the local community that you're
Yeah.
in. Like, we're Johnson City, there's a college community, so
Yeah.
maybe we have more, you know what I'm saying? Whereas if you go to the beach, you're going to sell, like, around Florida, you're going to sell something different. So that's why we want to tailor it to the local community. I feel like each local community, I worked at 4 different malls. I worked in Knoxville, Morristown, and here. And I can tell you that the demographics for every single mall is extremely different. And that's just a very short, like, distance from each. So think of, like, how different the demographics for a Tennessee mall are and a Florida mall.
The owners
So
But I
that's-
agree with Amanda. There is a disconnect that you guys really have to work to understand.
I think we did more on like the wanting to know what people felt as opposed to the, so we were working more on satisfaction where we would have probably should have gotten more on like numbers and how you're gonna profit.
I think you should have done both. I think the numbers really, again, show that scope of a problem and help. I mean, remember your reaction when Jessica went, 70%? And walking in there, I want you to think about that. And I'm like, Amy, it took one story of someone who loaded up her stuff, took it in, and walked
if they
out.
bought your jeans, would you have bought something else there?
Yeah,
Or
I
you would
think
have at
that
least
it was
returned.
just like I had not gone back. Like I went the other day to look for a pair of shoes like this that I needed to buy like really cheap. But I like haven't tried to sell anything back. I sell it on eBay now because I'll get more than half of.
But I saw some of that stuff on eBay too. I took a basket in the other day and I got like $50 back, and I just have.
I guess my clothes aren't good. I don't know.
Well, I think it could just
But I
depend on
think
what
that
they
this
need.
is something that Plato's Closet has to own, is that this is the second time that I've heard that, is that people walk out and for Plato's Closet, of course, it's a consumer experience where there's a notion of good buy, bad buy. For the customer who walks out, it's an evaluative experience of, I guess my clothes aren't just good enough. And I can tell you by the community dialogue, people are feeling judged.
But they probably just had too many jeans at the time. You know what I mean?
Well, we don't go off too many. Like if we have 7 backstock bins, like we overflow the floor. Like when we get jeans in, if we have enough on the floor, we just put them in the back, and then we put dates on them, and then when people shop and people purchase the jeans, we take a backstock bin out, and then put them back. We don't not take items because we have too many pairs of jeans. It's the brand.
Yeah, I didn't think that it would be that, but like I said, like I got offered $2 and then I saw them on eBay a week later for $30.
Right.
So I mean, I benefited more out of it, but I didn't know if like Plato's, if that was the complaint people had, was the pricing, like how different, or if it was because they just didn't take the clothes.
It's better.
Sean, your question.
If you talk about satisfaction, you think it would be a good idea as an addendum to add the policy as far as how they determine how much they can give you back? Because I know GameStop does the same thing with games. You go in, you trade it, and I always leave pissed, because you walk in with 6 games that cost you $40, $60 a piece, and then you come out with $50 for all 6 of them. And if I knew exactly how they determined how much I got, I wouldn't feel as if it was arbitrary. I wouldn't be so angry. I would know what to expect.
The employees just we don't know. We don't know how. It's just in the computer. Our job is to just put it in there, and it spits us out a price. I mean, and that's all we can tell our customers. We just tell them, it's computer generated, corporate. I mean, that's all we can say because that's all we know.
But you said it was like 40% of
What we sell it for. But that's
Yeah.
corporate too. I mean, it's already into the computer system.
We could communicate that via the website. Bring in these brands. You're going to get 40% of what we sell them for. You know?
like
Is
how
that
we
all
do
the
things,
website?
that way you know.
Jessica, there just does seem to be an opportunity there to have transparency to procedure. I mean, I think that was an important point that you made that really needs to be explored, is that if I'm a client, I've loaded up my car, I've walked in, and you just enter the computer and you go, yeah, I can't tell you why. Can't tell you why I'm getting $2.
I think that Plato's is a good place for buyers because it is cheap. Like if somebody goes in there, needs, like I said, I just need a pair of shoes one time.
Yeah.
I think it's good for that. But if you're a seller, then I think that's exactly what you guys are proposing, though. I mean, I thought that was good. We just really want to focus on the communication between consumer and the store, because if you guys know what we're looking for and what brands we're looking for, and if we take your suggestion, Sean, and place on there, no more than 2 years old, this exactly, and then there will be a more happy environment instead of going in there and dreading every time, thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk out of here with like $2.
Or even I don't know how feasible it would be to do that, but on the website, if you could have maybe a simulation of what you guys plug it into, and you plug in what you have, and it tells you an estimate of maybe what you would get.
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
Or what if they did incentives for if you bring in a whole pile of clothes? And
They
you
actually
walk
already
away
do
with
have
it back?
incentives.
I
like, here's $5 off if you come and buy
Well,
something.
we have like a, we have a different one for mall employees, and then we have also one for just customers. It's called a stamp card, and like every $10 you buy or sell with us, we stamp a card for you. You fill it up, you get 20% off. But for mall employees, if you come and show proof of working in the mall, we'll stamp your card, and then when you fill the card up, you get a gift card to any store in the mall.
Which is kind of smart because mall employees already get discounts on their clothes, so you're getting a lot more. I think that's genius.
Doesn't Plato's also offer like, if you buy something, you know, they'll give you more if you're gonna.
You get the same amount. If
That's
you
a
just
close.
do a trade,
Oh,
you'll
okay.
save sales tax.
Okay.
So if you don't actually cash out and we hand you money and then you go buy something, I mean, it'll be the same amount. But if it
Okay.
stays in the computer and I just ring up what you're buying, it'll save you, like, not all of sales tax, but some of sales tax.
But at Clothesline, like, if you want cash, they'll give you less. If you trade for clothes, they'll give you more.
Okay, that's fine.
I think, I'm pretty sure. It's like that at Kenny's books too.
Just-
Clarify, I think a lot of you guys had questions about like the percent of how much you're getting back for what Plato's buys when you bring clothes in, like you said, 40%. Originally, when we started researching and doing all of this, we were looking specifically just at the buy policy. And then as we interviewed like the owner in Johnson City, and Jessica was giving us a little bit more information about how things are set in the computer, we started realizing that since it's so corporate, and we decided that that was something a little bit larger than what we could make a dent on, rather than so instead of trying to change the buy policy, we decided, okay, let's go in and see how we can tweak the way we're communicating with the customers and make sure that we're making everything go smoothly and make people happier on that end, right? Because corporately, it's a little bit too big to change the way they do things in the
Well,
computer.
and not to mention that, but the impact is local. The impact is when that client yells at Jessica or storms out and is upset, and so I think that you did a smart thing by narrowing. There was just additional layers of evidence and support that I just felt like you kind of missed. And then there's this piece of communication, is that it's the communication that to the customer. I would have also been interested more to hear about an important piece of that communication is, what about the staffers? I mean, or what about, how are they, what are they able to say to the customers during that? You indicated to me that they're able to pretty much say, I don't know, I just put it into the computer. How do they handle problematic interactions, Jessica? And I know that's an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Well, I mean, I've had to deal with a lot of unhappy customers, and basically they're just mad because, I mean, people will come in and I'll have to tell them, I'm sorry, it's a void, and here are the reasons why. Because when we fill out, like I was telling you all, when they come in, they have to fill out a buy sheet that says who they are, whatever. And we link that to the bags that the number on the sheet is the same number that's on the bag. That way we cannot get them, we can't lose the bags or separate the bags from the person. So when we go through, and then if we cannot buy anything, we write on the buy policy sheet why we can't take them. So past the 2-year mark, standing underwear, whatever. Well, then when they come up and we cash them out or tell them that it's a void, we have to explain everything that's written that the buyer has gone through. They'll write and put their initials. Well, then if they have questions, we'll call the buyer over because the buyers actually went through the items. And most of the complaints are, I just bought this, it's brand new, has the tags on, never worn it. Sometimes it's BS because they have worn it and there's stains on it. But then other times, it's just because like we can't take it. I mean, if I take it, I'm going to get in trouble. And we just have to say, I'm sorry, this is policy. We can't take anything that's past the 2-year mark. We have an actual label guide book that we update every season that tells us every label from the department stores and mall stores and tells us how old they are. So if they have questions about that, we can pull that book out and just be like, this is what we look at. This tells us how the label is. This is the label that we're looking for. This is the label that you have. And just show them evidence of why we can't. I mean, the things that we have to look at, we actually share with them. But I mean, as far as the computer, all we can say about that is it's corporate, computer generated. We just stick in what you bring.
I
We don't really have
interviewed
information.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was gonna say, I interviewed the assistant manager at Plato's, and he, said one thing he'd like to change is the 2 year to 1 year to guarantee better clothes quality and to keep up with trends a little better. Another thing he said is that he had went to a conference for the corporate in Las Vegas, and he said while he was there, all they preached was using the internet to basically go over what we're talking about in making a change. And he said when they got back with the owners here in Johnson City, that lasted about 1 week.
That would be amazing, though.
What does that mean, that lasted about 1 week?
They were like gun ho about it for 1 week, and then it just died away. No more internet use, and it's there. They just need to utilize it.
I mean, they just don't
Young
have the
people
time.
are
They don't, I mean, we have 15 employees at Plato's Closet, and like, there's 3 assistant managers, there's our owner, and then 4 key holders, 5 key holders, and then the employees. So we are definitely manager heavy versus employee heavy. And they just don't take the time. They don't want to hire anybody separate. They're all about, saving money. They don't want to, and we always have they're just worried about making money within the store. And they don't realize that will obviously help them. But, they just don't really utilize it. And it doesn't help that our owners are kind of older generation. And so they don't even know how to use the internet.
I get tweets all the time about like sell here, and I'm like, oh, I gotta go there because it's a bargain. Like, young people are online, like you have Twitter, you have Facebook on your phone. If you're like at the mall and you get a tweet that's like, we just got in new something, and you're like, oh, I need that at Plato's Closet, you would head over there. So that's why I want like one person in charge of it, because I feel like that's the best way to market to people our age. I love it. I shop like that all the time.
I don't know if this is off topic, but
Jessica, if you're,
I was kind
I'm
of
sorry,
interested
would you let in
on
Katie?
if there's like any studies on like how one person networks, like how many, on the average, how many people after like a bad situation, how many people they tell.
Exactly.
I think that would be kind of interesting. Like it's kind of like
Word of mouth.
the
is
pay
the
forward kind of like kind of thing. Like one person, how many people does that take? Like that bubble, and if that person goes, just keep expanding.
Well, I know within our group, if Leslie comes across something good, the whole group knows about it. Because she tells us, they were doing it last night in our meeting and stuff.
I got a bargain at Baby Shoes.
So it's word of mouth, of course, and experience. If you have a good experience, you may or may not share it with, you're going to tell one person. If you have a bad experience, you're going to tell everybody.
Yeah, that,
Also, it depends
That
on
is-
if it's like word of mouth or if it's through Facebook. Because I could be like, oh yeah, I see, this group, and then tomorrow I forget about it. But if I say something on, a social media site with 600 friends, those 600 people will know about it, and it really depends on if they group the views or if they're able to be swayed to listen to my views and, not go to Plato's Closet because of that bad experience. So really, truly, it honestly depends on what outlet you're going through. Because if it's just, Leslie, I don't like Plato's Closet. Okay, it's done. But if it's through a different form of media, then that's when it would escalate.
I always
to this
tweet
level.
whenever we have good sales at work. We do like once a month we do our clearance spot for $5. I'm sorry, that's a good deal no matter who you are, and I always tweet about it. And I have a lot of girls come in that are like, I saw this on your Twitter. Like, so think how many more people that you would see if you think how many likes a public page gets, and that shows up on your newsfeed the same as all of your friends. So it just depends how many people like your page and who they're friends with. You know what I'm saying? So it just has to do with like reaching out. You know how social media works.
Any other questions?
let me clarify this. You said, I heard you correctly when you said that they do not have a Facebook page, your
They
local.
do not have a Facebook page. I did the research myself.
We used to have a Facebook page, but it never got
Updated.
updated.
That goes with
published.
what I'm saying.
Follow through with that, Jerry.
I was just saying that, the assistant manager said when they come, Las Vegas, they're sitting there saying, use this tool, use the internet, and then they get back here and they're like, oh, let's do it, and for a period of a week, it's just forgotten.
So has it been deleted?
And he
or
was
is it sitting
also-
somewhere just completely
It's-
unupdated?
Yes.
So people will probably add it, but it's
Yeah.
gonna always, that's even sloppier. That's good.
It's pretty bad.
he was real excited about the idea whenever I proposed it, or just our thoughts. He said he would love to see it updated daily.
Things that have come in,
Yeah.
outfits that have been designed, that sort of thing. And so that's really how Plato's Closet can communicate with its consumers, especially since they're teen and young adults. They're on these sites and they're looking for things like this, and they're liking all of their favorite stores that they go to. And so if you're able to have a presence at least once a day, that's what most social media experts say that you should do.
And think how, it would be so easy to find someone who could do that. How many of you would love to get paid to be in charge of Facebook? That would be my dream job. And I don't think it would be difficult at all to
I do
find
like that
somebody who
job.
already has the training to do exactly what you want them to do.
Yeah, have you all thought about delegating, having, the managers or the owners, delegating an employee, at Gap, we have a Facebook page, and we do other stuff, we do volunteer work, and they specifically delegate, this person is in charge of doing I'm in charge of doing volunteer work, one of our other employees is in charge of, updating the Facebook page, one of the assistant managers, but still, it's not just,
That's
owner.
Sorry, that's something that we touched on, saying that they could we weighed two options in our suggestions. We weighed the option of hiring someone new, that this is just their main job to update social media pages as well as their web page to correlate with what they want locally, and then they could do that, or they could get a current employee or a manager to just have that as an extra task that they would take care of. Does that answer your question?
At my job, we have it's a marketing, we're just giving out products and stuff, so that every day, usually we do Monday through Sunday, we're always working at events and stuff. So every worker we're the sampling team, we're called the PTs, we're all ambassadors to our Facebook page. So when it's always two people per car. So we have 2 cars, so there's always 4 people working every day. And we all have access to the website. So if we are going to, say, we're going to stroll the beaches and give out free muscle milk, we will update that. So every day, no matter what, it's an easy job. No one actually has the job to do it, but he gave us, the freedom to do it. I don't know. And it was easy because we want to get rid of our products, so we're done. So And I to think do that's that, what our manager would want to do, is just to designate somebody that's already getting paid to be there to do it. Bringing somebody else probably out of the question.
Well, then you get into the feasibility issue, economic feasibility. You also get into social feasibility. Of now you're going to bring in someone who is getting paid just for doing what other employees might see as a fun job, which could breed animosity. Okay, thank you. Folks, make sure, first again, thank you for those of you who were on time. Please do that again next time we start, 11:15. And that door gets locked because I don't want anybody, thank you, by the way, Katie. Katie, thank you for waiting up front. So please be courteous. I'm going to apologize, even though it's not my job, for people who were not courteous to you today. I would ask you to be courteous to the other teams, okay? So, thank you very much, and I will see you Thursday for the final class. Not sure why I only have 3 papers here. It's easier for me to grade 3 papers, but
Are we supposed to send you something with our teammates' grades? What we proposed?
Look at the guidelines.
Okay. And then we'll do that on Thursday.
Guys, remember you're grading your teammates. Look at the guidelines.
I have the final project. I'm not 100%.
Is it in the final project guidelines?
Yes.
Okay.
We looked for it yesterday. We must have looked at it. But it is all the
Yeah, it should be. It should be. It should be in a box, a gray box. It says, for example, curry.
I'm sweating.
It's in the Dropbox.
I have to wear camion uses because it was like see-through and it makes it so much
It's in, no, it's in the, under content.
She did say that there's a grade, we looked for it, there is a grading thing, that we're turning in. We were looking at that last night, but there is something to do on the website.
Okay, that's
It was tomorrow. I'm on
Yay! Good luck.
Ooh, you're leading Senate tonight, did you say?
I am.
She had a gavel last night, she let me bang it.
Congratulations, enjoy it.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying.
I'll either send them to you. Yeah, I get to change out of my nice clothes. I'll just send it to you.
Thanks, Jerry, for,
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, she has, I should have named her.
On intercultural,
Everybody,
say again?
the quiz for intercultural art company, box upstairs.
Yeah, that's
That'd
fine.
be the only thing really.
Thanks.
So we just have to email you that's appropriate.
Yeah, and if it's a failing grade, or let's just say if it's a D on,